Hello, and welcome to another HistorySpeak.com podcast. This episode explores the history and mystery of haunted houses. It seems that every town has at least one haunted house, and some have several. The intrigue surrounding haunted houses is often deeply rooted in architecture, grief, and/or historic events. The mystery of a haunted house combines environmental science, folklore, and psychology. The earliest recorded haunted house story dates to the 1st century in Athens, Greece, where a detailed letter by the Roman author Pliny the Younger described a large, notoriously haunted villa where residents were driven away by the rattling of chains and the apparition of a ghostly, skeletal figure of an old man. The earliest commercial walk-through haunted house was the Chamber of Horrors in London, England, which exhibited wax figures of guillotine victims. That was opened in 1802. A haunted house is a house or other building often perceived as being inhabited by disembodied spirits of the deceased, who may have been former residents or were somehow associated with the property. Parapsychologists often attribute hauntings to the spirits of the dead who have died from violent or tragic events in the building's past, such as murder, accidental death, or suicide. Various polls report that anywhere from 39% to 86% of people believe homes can be haunted. Up to 20% of the respondents claim that they have actually lived in a haunted house. While paranormal theories suggest residual energy or wandering spirits are the causes of hauntings, mainstream science attributes these experiences to mold, which can trigger anxiety and hallucinations, carbon monoxide poisoning, or infrasound, low-frequency sound waves that induce feelings of unease and anxiety. This podcast features 8 spooky and mysterious haunted houses that are located in different areas of the United States. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. The mystery at this house starts with Sarah Pardee Winchester, who allegedly wanted to appease spirits, specifically those who had fallen victim to the famous Winchester rifle. One of the craziest stories about this house is that multimillionaire Sarah Winchester believed she would have bad luck or die if construction stopped on the house. Starting in 1895 and continuing until her death in 1922, she was constantly building and adding on to the house. When she died, the house included 160 rooms, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 stairways, 47 fireplaces, 13 bathrooms, and 6 kitchens. In 1924, world-famous escape artist and illusionist Harry Houdini came to the house during his nationwide tour to attempt to debunk spiritualism. Many other paranormal investigators have visited the Winchester Mystery House over the years, and some have reported spiritual encounters, while others have not. Over the years, many workers and visitors have reported gentle tugs on skirts and shirts when no one was near them. Disembodied footsteps are sometimes heard, and shadowy figures are often seen as well. One of the most common ghostly tales is that of Clyde, a mustached man sometimes seen pushing a wheelbarrow in the basement or trying to repair the fireplace in the house's ballroom. Many visitors claim to have experienced cold spots, footsteps, cooking smells, odd sounds, whispering, doors and windows slamming, and feelings of being watched. However, many of these experiences have been debunked due to wind that causes odd noises and the fact that it's drafty old house that naturally has temperature variations. The Winchester Mystery House is surely one of the creepiest and spookiest houses in the nation, even if it's not actually haunted. The Whaley House in San Diego, California. Over the years, many descendants of the Whaley family lived and died in the house, and the family's unfortunate past, which included tragic deaths and paranormal and spiritual encounters, plays a key role in the home's chilling history. The property was infamous amongst the community, as it is the site where horse thief Yankee Jim Robinson was publicly executed. Thomas Whaley was not concerned by the location's grim history and decided to build his family home on the site. It wasn't long after the Whaley family moved into their new home that sadness and despair were thrust upon them when their young son Thomas, who was only 18 months old, died of scarlet fever inside the house. The spirit of baby Thomas, who'd been the first in the family to die in the house, reportedly haunts it as tiny footsteps, the sounds of him crying, even giggling, when no one is in sight, are often heard. Spirits suspected of being Thomas and Anna Whaley have reportedly been felt within the home, usually on the stairwells and outside on the surrounding property. Mists, lights turning on and off by themselves, and crystals in the parlor room's lamp swinging without any prompt indicate that the Whaley house has some form of paranormal activity. The McRaven house in Vicksburg, Mississippi. The McRaven house is reportedly the home of 3 ghosts. Mary Elizabeth Howard is reportedly this house's most active spirit and has been seen by many people over the years. She died at a young age in 1836, shortly after childbirth. She was the lady of the house, as the Empire section was built by her husband, Sheriff Stephen Howard. Andrew Glass, a notorious and feared local criminal, likely built the McRaven house as a hideout. His ghost is now reportedly seen walking the halls of the house. In life, he robbed people at gunpoint and added 2 rooms onto the McRaven house to stash his spoils. Oddly, the rooms are not all that different from the way he left them nearly 200 years ago. John Bobb, who built the Grand Creek parlor and master suite of the McRaven house, survived the Vicksburg siege during the American Civil War while hunkered down in the house. A year after the Vicksburg siege, he was murdered by Union troops. His ghost now reportedly strolls around the balcony he built. The Oceanborn Mary house in Henniker, New Hampshire. Mary Wilson Wallace, she lived from 1720 to 1814, is better known as Oceanborn Mary, and she is a folklore figure in the New England area. She was born on a ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Mary's claim to fame is as a reputed ghost. Although Mary herself never lived in the house, she is said to be haunting. The story of the Oceanborn Mary house haunting first began in the 1930s, as it was said that the same pirate captain who robbed and then spared the ship Mary was born on reunited with her in her widowhood, and she took him in to her house and cared for him in his old age. Allegedly, the captain was murdered under Mary's roof, and Mary buried him and his treasure under the hearthstone in accordance with his last wishes. It was then said that her ghost now haunts the house in order to protect the hidden treasure. Some people have claimed to have seen her ghost in the yard or walking on the road into town. No evidence of either treasure or human remains has ever been found in the Oceanborn Mary house, and the story is considered to be local folklore. The Pirate's House in Savannah, Georgia. Hauntings at the Pirate's House seem to originate from the stories of the many men who walked into the bar during the 1700s, and after getting drunk, they were kidnapped and found themselves on a sailing ship miles out on the ocean. These men were shanghaied, with no choice other than working on the ship or being thrown overboard. These shanghaied men were reportedly carried through a mysterious tunnel leading from the rum cellar in the basement of the Pirate's House to River Street, where they were then placed on board a ship. Shadowy figures of people and other ghostly apparitions have been seen walking through the dining rooms of the present-day Pirate's House. Guests and staff have reported the sensation of somebody watching them, but no one's ever physically seen. Many people claim to have seen a seaman dressed in 18th century clothing standing and looking right into their eyes, and then this apparition slowly drifts away into nothing. Footsteps have reportedly been heard echoing through the restaurant on quiet evenings. The distinct sound of boots on wooden plank floors have reportedly been heard and have sent chills up the spine of those not expecting to hear such an eerie sound. People walking past the Pirate's House have also posted a lot of photographs of supposed ghosts looking through the windows of the haunted house. However, after analyzing them, they could almost all be explained by the type of glass, reflections, and other totally natural explanations. The Owens-Thomas house in Savannah, Georgia. The Owens-Thomas house has one of the oldest urban slave quarters still in existence. Undoubtedly, this house has experienced its fair share of horrors, none as shameful as the act of enslaving fellow human beings. It is believed that the slaves painted the ceiling a water blue color to ward off evil spirits and to keep other restless ghosts who refuse to move on from entering their world. These spirits are referred to as haints. The Owens-Thomas house has no shortage of creepy and spine-tingling tales, as it is reportedly home to many ghosts. It is believed that the ghosts of the Owens-Thomas house are unable to cross over, for whatever their reasons might be. Their lost souls roam throughout the halls and rooms of this property they now call home. One of the most frequently spotted spirits is a well-built man with jet black hair, dressed in 1830s garb. This man apparently likes to stand in the front parlor room, watching the guests as they venture around the house. He then walks through the wall and simply vanishes. The lady in gray is believed to be a spirit of Margaret Thomas. Miss Margaret's ghost has been spotted at night strolling around the garden in which she spent so much time during her living years. She has been described as wearing a large hat and a gray shawl. The ghost in the riding coat made his presence known to a couple of gentlemen who were visiting their friend who lived upstairs. They claimed to see a ghostly man wearing a riding coat and a shirt with ruffles, and declared he has blue eyes. The apparition stood in the doorway for a short time before walking right through a solid wall into another room. A ghostly smoker was experienced after people heard the striking of a match, and soon afterwards the distinct aroma of tobacco burning was in the air. But after people looked around, they saw nobody smoking in the area. The Wells House in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Reportedly, the Wells House is extremely haunted, possibly by demonic activity. It has been rented about 50 times since 1860. Tragically, it has 2 confirmed suicides and several other deaths reported on the property. Many renters and owners, including famously the Jacobs family and the Bennett family in the 1960s and 1970s, have experienced negative paranormal activity. People have been scratched in threes and in numbers. Many dwellers have heard unexplained shrieks from the inside of the walls and attic and heard loud banging noises and stomping boot sounds on the floors. Some residents have reported sudden illnesses and psychiatric conditions. Mysterious blood splatters have been found on the walls using luminol, although this evidence is now disputed. Allegedly, a little girl was once pushed down the stairs, only to be floated to the bottom safely by an unseen force. Coincidentally, apparitions of a well-dressed man and a little girl have been seen inside this house. Some years back, it was reported that a small tin box was found behind a chimney brick in the basement. It contained human teeth molars wrapped with chicken bones shaped like a cross, potentially the sign of demonic activity that once occurred within this house. The high turnover of renters, many of which report similar types of paranormal experiences, does lend some truth to the claims of paranormal activity, possibly demonic in nature. It is certainly clear that something out of the ordinary is going on within the walls of the infamous Wells House. But what could it be? The Cliveden Benjamin Chew House in Germantown, Pennsylvania. Documents from the era of the American Revolutionary War state that the Cliveden Benjamin Chew House's grounds were the site of a human slaughterhouse during ferocious battles of the war. It is not surprising that the house and its grounds, the site of such bad blood spilling from so many fallen soldiers, has many ghost stories surrounding it. Bullet holes are still visible in the walls, and sometimes guests will hear the sounds of gun or cannon fire when there should obviously be none occurring in the area. Reports of smelling smoke have been linked to both phantom cigars as well as the fact that the Continentals tried to smoke the British troops out of the fortified stone home. It is mainly Continental soldiers who are physically seen on the grounds, usually as shadowy versions of their former selves. No matter how controversial, seances have been held inside the house. Those attending claim to have contacted a Samuel Chew Jr., a former occupant of the house. Some say that even if these seances did not actually contact Samuel Chew, perhaps they conjured up something else from the world of the paranormal. This concludes our HistorySpeak.com podcast featuring the history and mystery of haunted houses.